Oops. There we got it. Today we're talking about crash pads. Here at Crazy Ape, we make custom crash pads like we make our custom trampolines. And that is, we make them every day of the week in a variety of shapes, sizes, and colors. And just like we offer custom tunes for our trampolines to tailor their performance to the customer, we've developed an entire line of tunable crash pads for various technical applications. And those come in a huge variety. We're talking about mats developed specifically for performers, doing certain drops or landings in circ shows, pro stunts, ninja obstacle courses, even home rock climbing gyms. It's a huge variety. Our most common, though, is going to be bouldering gyms, where you're free climbing, up to 12, 14, 16 feet above the ground. And that's what this one is specifically set up for. And I can tell you, this thing is a far cry from anything else anyone else is doing out there. And it's night and day even from our own pads from a short while ago. We have a long history with crash pads, and we've done a whole overhaul on our system and developed this. So today, I'm going to give you a quick rundown on our crazy crash pads. We're going to talk about everything you can customize, from the cover itself to the foam makeup that goes inside. That's where your technical tune is going to come to play. And speaking of making the custom trampolines every day of the week, we're currently making up a custom pallet for a custom trampoline that's going out today. We're going to talk about the various features of our covers, as well as how the tuning works and then how that might affect your use. And finally, we'll cover how we price these bad boys. All right, first things first, customization. Basically, any length, any width, any size. Seamless system, which I'll cover in a second here. It's a very unique system. We developed an interconnector strip, not your average everyday connector strip. It's pretty slick. So I'll explain how that works. But essentially, length, width, thickness, totally up to you. If it's a standalone pad, we're going to have some maxes. But if you're doing an overall system with multiple pads pieced together, then yeah, we can essentially provide you a seamless system for whatever space. Doesn't matter what shapes or sizes or curves your walls have. It's totally doable. Colors, wow, you don't even have to stop with colors. There's also multiple materials we offer. This is actually Cordura fabric. You can do Cordura or you can do vinyl. We got lots of colors in each. Again, thickness, we got a bunch of presets for various applications where we've developed tunes for them, which correspond with a certain thickness because it's based on the foam composition that goes inside. But if you've got something specific, or there's some arcane standard you're trying to follow, where it's like you need this many inches of foam for this many feet, we can work with you on those too. So we might select something that different types of foam, because inches of foam are not all created equal. That's where we're going to be talking about the tunes. Incredibly night and day difference. This is a 14-inch thick pad. I can set this up in a variety of ways that are going to give you incredibly different performance from one another. So other fun head scratcher or brain tickler is that if you take a solid 12-inch thick block of foam, just solid, it can be super soft foam, but 12 inches thick, and then you double it, 24 inches thick, is it going to be softer or harder than the 12-inch one? Believe it or not, thickness doesn't equal softness. The 24-inch is actually going to perform as if it was firmer, which is math. So anyways, that's why, talk to us. We'll get you figured out. We've developed a lot of this stuff, and this is a super gushy, still stable. It's still a stable cover for good fitting. We'll talk about that in a second. So let me get through the customization process, which is basically you've got it. We can do different types of handles. These are a pretty nice, wide-ranging handle. I'll talk about those in a second, but you can select a few other different finishes as well. If for some reason you hate zippers, we can do a Velcro closure instead. But yeah, there you go. This is our standard system, and this is how it's built around a number of different thicknesses. All right, features time. So each one of these is going to have 4 handles. We got a unique wraparound thing, so they're able to be carried by 4 people. You can have a person in every corner hauling this thing, because we use actual proper foam in our pads, so they actually weigh a good amount. And all foam is going to be between 2 and 3 pounds of density. We use a variety of different foams in our unique layering process and to do the tunes, and yeah, but they're all ranging between 2 and 3 pounds, so they're serious stuff. Compare that with oftentimes you're seeing 1.3 pounds in the industry, even by big name players, so it's pretty sad. Anyways, handles, we've also elongated them around the sides here so that you can do a 2-person lift comfortably, one hand here, one hand there, and roll them down. Pretty slick. We've got our waterfall seams, so they come actually over, so you don't have a seam right here in a common wear point. They all wrap down and around the sides. Very nice. You got a big zipper on all 3 sides, You actually got a double zipper tucked in here if you ever need to do something different. They're both tucked down there, and they get parked in this nice little garage. Slider all the way around. 3 sides, the whole thing clamshells open so you can adjust your foam if you need. Say you get your gym flooded and you want to air out some of that soft foam, no problem. Or your very top layer gets beat up. You want to replace just the very top layer, we can send that out to you. That's going to take forever because this is a very, very high quality foam on the top here. And of course, all of our crazy crash pads are vented on the 2 long sides, showcasing our glorious crushed core foam, which is definitely a secret sauce in the way we do things here. To achieve that awesome impact attenuation of our systems, the nice fall arrest, it's comfortable. I took a pretty good spill onto this pad at the start of the video. I actually did it 4 times because my camera kept popping out of my hand. Dang it. I'm holding it like a goof because I got a wireless mic attached to it. Yeah, 4 back-to-back drops from the edge, give it a little hop, and then boof. And this thing is super nice. And obviously this is designed for bouldering, so people are going to be much higher, but I could do that all day long. So that's our covers. Again, they're super simple to replace and swap. They're incredibly durable. However, if something does happen, you get some hooligan in your gym with a knife or something sharp, or just something stains it, or a kid gets on the loose with a Sharpie, whatever it happens to be, and you, for whatever reason, find yourself needing to replace 1 cover or 2 covers or whatever in your whole gym or just your home, whatever, that's super simple. The foam is basically designed to last to the end of time on these things. And because we're not a foam company, we use a technical foam in a technical sense, but we're a sewing company. And we do steel as well, build our own frames and everything. And then we weave our own Hypertramp beds as well, so that's also pretty cool. But yeah, sewing is our bread and butter, our mainstay. And we want to just sew you a quick cover, put it in a little tiny box, airship it out to you so you're back up in action for a fraction of the cost of ever replacing a whole pad. And that's the beauty of our system. And let me finally touch upon our seamless integration with our connector strips. These are heavy. Okay, so this is a very simple situation here. This would be as if you had 2 of these pads side by side. Got a hook and loop closure here. And fun fact, it's integrated with the top seam. You don't actually have an extra piece of fabric or a flap that's sewn on here. This is the whole top seam of the surface. I got an older video where we first talked about this. It's our interconnector system. So you pop this open, we supply you with double wide, double-sided fastener, and you just lay that down like tape to bridge 2 pads. Slide these down to get a nice tight seal. And the fun thing is if you have 2 like this, you can also just flip them over, and then you got a lot of extra space. Or a double thick pad, and flip them back, and then you're set to go. And this can be on 1 side, 2 sides, 2 opposing sides, whatever you want to do, 3 sides, or even 4 sides. It can be in a part of a whole grid with totally meshed in with a bunch of other pads. We've done that. It's awesome. It's durable. We run that in our own parks under our ninja obstacle courses. So it's pretty slick. It does work like a hot bang. And we're very proud of the system because it's, again, you can just slide your hand right over the seam. It's not a trip point. It's not a toe catcher. And it's not a whole bunch of layered up fabric like you'd see in conventional climbing gyms where you've got 2 modular pads butted together with a big, vinyl with Velcro strip on it. And this is just so nice.
Quick abridged note from the office. It is so nice because it's the best of both worlds. It blends your total seamless floor, which is a nightmare. If anything ever goes wrong, you get a cut in that thing and then you have to whole new sheet for it. And at its base, it's still a modular system. You move gyms, think about that. Anything ever happens, all those things actually act as pseudo standalone pads, which is awesome. So your salvage value is super high, just mitigates your investment if you're doing something crazy like that. And the way those flaps work, another thing I didn't brush on, is when you land on it, and you land on a connector seam or a connector strip on a traditional modular pad system, those are hard because it's vinyl or fabric doubled over a bunch of times, and it's just a hard transition. The pattern doesn't feel the same all the way along. This system really replicates that feel throughout the pad, so it's as if you're jumping or landing on a seamless situation rather than right on a seam between 2 padded sections. It's pretty slick. And again, maintenance-wise, modularity-wise, serviceability, it's the way. It's the way I will do all of my parks going forward.
And I can say that because we used to build them like that. We used to run them in our own gyms like that. And again, it's from those experiences that we came up with this system. All right, your tuning packages. So We're gonna go different sizes. Whether you've got a MMA gym floor, just a simple, we can do from 2 inches up to, doesn't matter. We've done 30-inch pads, and we've done 20-inch pads that are absolute marshmallows. That a guy who was doing a loop-de-loop on artificial ice with ice skates wanted to do loop-de-loop and crash onto something in case he bailed. And those were 2 foot thick, and I jumped off of a ladder. My head was about 12 feet, and they were just marshmallows. I did it over and over and over again. It felt amazing. And those are even in vinyl, not even in Cordura, which I would have recommended Cordura. Cordura is a little softer than the slap you get from vinyl. As a quick aside, Cordura also doesn't get that delamination in the corners because it's not a coated fabric. This is actually just a dyed nylon fabric. Very durable. And yeah, it doesn't matter how many times you move it and scrunch it and crush it and whatever, you're not going to get that delamination and that plastic coating wears off on vinyl pads, and then you get that exposed threadbare seam, and then it opens up, and then that's when your pad disintegrates. So we don't do that here, at least if you go with Cordura, which would be my recommendation. Now again, tuning wise, for example, a bouldering gym, you want to consider your patrons and what their activity is doing and what your chance for injury is, because that's what these are there for. These are there to catch you when you mess up or you have to do some repeated fall or some dangerous activity where hitting the ground would otherwise be very unsatisfactory. So you're going to balance your risk profile. So you're going to either have serious falls from a height where you're looking at some internal injury that's more severe, or a head injury. Those are always bad. And that's in rock climbing gyms. If you fall and you're decelerated too quickly by too firm of a pad, that's where you can get a concussion or higher profile accidents. So you then compensate by going with a really gushy soft foam, so that you really limit the chance of you having a hard injury like that. Those types of falls are generally pretty rare anyways. But now you got gushy pads and people that are actually falling really often from a low height and landing on their ankles, or they're putting their hands down. It's gushy, there's no stability, and they're much more likely to roll a wrist or an ankle. So now your high frequency falls are turning into high frequency, lower scale accidents. Like a rolled ankle is not a massive brain injury or something like that. So, but you don't want to be happening all the time. So then, well, where do you go? Firm and stable, so you get a good landing every time and don't roll those wrists or ankles, but leave yourself more open to a serious head injury the few times that those things are going to happen. Or go super gushy. Or best of both worlds. This is our stable soft topper with our crushed core center. And we got a base. Our base layer is what you'd expect of a traditional pad. That's our base layer. The crushed core is where the magic, where that gives you that gushiness. So when you do hit it with enough force, that's what gives and slows you down and prevents against those. At the same time, you got our stable soft topper, which all the small falls, like, yes, this is very nice and soft to the touch, but as soon as I get an inch below the surface, I've got stability there. Like I go right here, there's some meat there. And now we're back here. Hopefully that little story and tangent on the bouldering whole situation gave you some appreciation for what goes into tuning a set of pads. These are almost all our standard sizes. We can then have these on the go. They're all 4x8, so we can mess around the foam if you got something custom, pull it down, mess around, see what's going to work for your application if it's something different than we've already done. But yeah, we got our 14. We got a little 2-inch guy. This is in vinyl. It's a 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch. Everything from 4-inch and up can feature the stable soft technology, and everything from 6-inch up can also feature the crush core. So pretty slick. We built a lot of flexibility into these things, a lot of room to tune them for your specific application. Oh, and that custom tramp I was talking about, look at that. Oh, look at that color. Now, lastly, price. How do we price these things? Well, I can't really tell you because they're all going to be different. If you hop onto our site, we've got just our modular standalone pads. Now, those are going to be like your 3x6, your 4x8, your 5x10, whatever. They're just going to be available on the site in a variety of thicknesses. You can just go pre-order those, boom, done. If you want something custom, it's going to be by the square foot, and it's going to depend on a number of factors. Call us. We're going to work through all that with you, but there's some simple math we can give you to get you a quote really quickly. If you want some specific details that might affect things a small amount, the material has an effect. Cordura is nominally more expensive than vinyl. Not a lot, but a little bit. Depending on your thickness, your length, your width, those are your main drivers. If you want to do an interconnected system, adds a little bit. But yeah, basically for custom stuff, reach out to us. We can give you a quick ballpark per square foot price quote, and then go from there on any finer details. Thank you for this adventure in our crazy crash pads with me. Reach out, have any questions whatsoever. We've got you covered, pun intended.